The Mavericks are finally back home as they get ready to take on the Los Angeles Clippers. They'll have to do it shorthanded, though. We'll get you ready for tonight's game. All that coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys, coming your favorite team every single game night at Kevin Gray Sports, at Bobby Carella. Coming up just a little bit later on in our show, our Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato live from the American Airlines Center. You can find him on X at Tim_Cato. Your Mavericks are finally back at home after spending 13 of their last 17 games on the road. The Dallas Mavericks are playing their first home game tonight since December 3rd as they welcome in the returning Derrick Jones Jr. and his Los Angeles Clippers tonight. The Mavericks tipping off at 7:30 p.m. at the American Airlines Center. We'll get you ready for the game over the next half hour. Really appreciate you joining us here on DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe while you are here, as well as Bobby Carella, the Dallas Mavericks, who are a season-high 8 games above 500, 8-3 at the American Airlines Center, finally get to feel the home crowd tonight at the AAC after spending a lot of time on the road over the last few weeks here.
Yeah, you know, they're going to be home a lot. This is an opportunity, just like we said about their first 5-game homestand of the year. It's an opportunity to stack wins. Tonight, it's going to be pretty tough to get a win. So I'm not putting bad vibes out there. I need everyone to trust me here. This is a positive vibes only show. But I don't want to be sitting here a week from now saying, man, they really squandered that homestand. So please, the guys that are playing, just play super hard and super good.
They begin a baseball series tonight with the Clippers. They play tonight, and then they'll have the day off on Friday before they take on the Clippers on Saturday. Then they'll take on Portland before welcoming in Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves as they face them on Christmas Day. But it's about tonight's game. The Clippers at 15-12. 5-6 away from Intuit Dome in Los Angeles. Mavericks 2.5-point favorite tonight with the over-under at 220.5.
That's really surprising. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, with the Mavericks still being favored tonight? Yeah. That's because, unfortunately, the lead story and the big news for your Dallas Mavericks tonight is that their stars are out. Luka Doncic will miss his 7th game of the season. He's dealing with a left heel contusion. Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving, who did return to practice on Wednesday, unfortunately, though, will be out tonight as he's dealing with right shoulder soreness, Bobby. And it's a big blow, obviously, for the Dallas Mavericks, particularly when it comes to Luka Doncic, who's been a Clippers killer throughout the course of his career. My man averaging over 32 points per game, over 8 rebounds, over 7 assists in 18 career regular season games. Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving, of course, averaging nearly 24 points per game so far this year. In what is All-Star voting night, beginning, you can start voting for your All-Stars. Unfortunately, the Mavericks down 2 of them as they take on the Clippers tonight.
Yeah, the Kyrie one, I can't really explain because I don't remember seeing any sort of like signs of pain or discomfort against the Warriors. The Mavs aren't just going to be sitting guys just willy-nilly, you know, coming off a break like this. Luka, though, I think it was early in the game. It might have even been the first quarter against the Warriors. He goes up for a rebound, kind of gets kicked, and he was grabbing like at his heel Achilles-ish area for a while, kind of limping, wincing a lot. Now he kept going. I mean, adrenaline obviously is a real thing, but for him to miss a game how long ago was that game? Like 4 days ago?
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, to miss a game this many days later is kind of weird. So, I mean, it's I don't know. The list of weird maladies that are just unexplainable just continue to pile up this season. But, hey, guys are playing. There are people that are going to be playing basketball tonight. And, you know, kind of the through line of this season that if your name is not PJ Washington, then the Mavs can just win just fine without you. And so, you know, we'll see. I don't think there's been a game this year that both Luka and Kyrie have missed, right?
I believe that you're correct.
I think this is the first one. So, you know, we'll learn something about guys like PJ and Grimes and Lively, and on down the roster. Clay, what is Clay going to do without those guys?
Mm-hmm.
It looked pretty ugly in LA whenever the Mavs played without, I think Luka and Kyrie didn't play in that game. It looked kind of weird. So, we'll see. We'll learn a lot about the team tonight.
The Mavericks so far this year 5-1 without Luka Doncic in the lineup. Jason Kidd speaking to how the Mavericks will go about it without Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, a next man up mentality, and guys making sure they stay within themselves as they take on the Los Angeles Clippers. Here's what Jason Kidd had to say before the game tonight.
Next man up, it's mentality. We'll have 2 new starters, and we'll go and try to find a way to win the game. Injuries are a part of it. Illness. We've been through this often. So next guy up.
In situations like this, Jason, you said that you typically, you don't want anybody on your team to break character. Is that still a message that you can convey to the team given the manpower situation tonight, or does somebody have to do something that maybe is a little different?
Yeah, I think stay in your role. Again, I don't get out of character. We can't make up or we can't ask someone to be Luka or Kai. Just be yourself. Do what you're asked to do tonight. If you're open, shoot it. If not, redrive it. Like that, nothing changes. Maybe a little bit more touches or minutes for some guys that maybe don't get a lot of minutes. So that's the biggest thing in the change. But we can't ask guys to be Luka or Kai. That's not fair. And so stay in your role, rebound the ball, make the extra pass, do the things that we've asked up to this point. Continue to keep working on those habits.
And guys will need to step up tonight for a Mavericks team that's won 12 out of the last 14 games. A Mavericks team that's also 10-7 versus teams above 500 so far this year. They begin a 4-game homestand tonight, as we mentioned. A Mavericks team that will look to take out the Clippers and extend what is already a 4-game home winning streak, looking extended to 5. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Clippers 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're coming off of a big win against the Utah Jazz, 144-107, where James Harden knocked down 7 threes and scored 41 points in that victory. They begin a stretch tonight to the Clippers, where they play 8 of their next 10 games on the road, beginning with the baseball series with the Dallas Mavericks before they travel to Memphis on Monday. So much like the Mavericks have spent a lot of time on the road, the Clippers are about to do the same here over the next 10 games, which gets us to our scouting report tonight. Not only do the Mavericks have to worry about James Harden, obviously, who was in league MVP and multi-time All-Star, but a running mate for him this year who is having a career year in the form of Norman Powell for the Clippers.
Yeah, Norm Powell's been great, and every player and every team's stats are just better in wins than losses. That's just kind of how it works. But his stats are enormously different in their wins versus their losses. So in their losses this season, let's start with those. The Clippers are 15-12, I think, or something like that.
That's right, 15-12.
They are 11-9 in the games that he plays. In the 9 losses, he averages 19.9 points per game, 42% from the field, 35% from 3. In their wins, 26.4 points, 56.7% from the field, 59.1% from 3.
Wow.
His average game in their wins is 4.7 of 8 from 3. So if he comes out, and it's not just that he's making his shots, it's that he gets his threes running off screens. He gets his threes out of more than just like stand still, catch and shoot while James Harden does his thing. And so if he's really hot, he's forcing you to overreact. He's forcing you to maybe cheat out as he's running through screens, which gets space underneath open for other cutters or for Harden to drive or for bots to just gobble up some stuff. And, that's kind of the thing. Going back to last year's playoff series against the Clippers, there just wasn't really a lot of like dynamicism in their offense. It was very predictable. It was very slow. It was very kind of easy for the Mavs to load up and guard. But whenever you have all this stuff happening away from the ball, and then you have a guy like Harden who's really good at pocket passes, really good at lobs, really good at skip passes, and now he's got a guy running off screens, another target. It's just more to worry about and more to take care of, more to track. But this season, despite having a 15-12 record, the Clippers are 9-1 against the bad teams, against teams below 500. They're just 6-11 against good teams. These are their last 4 games. They beat Utah by 37. That's nicely done. They lost to Denver by 22. They lost to Houston by 11. They lost to Minnesota by 28. So, they've beaten 1 one team that is currently above 500 since November 21st. So over the last almost month, they have one win against a winning team. It came at home against Denver by 4 points. Now, granted, the Mavs are trotting out a lineup tonight that probably wouldn't go above 500 over the course of a regular season. So it's going to be a really tough game for the Mavs. But, assuming Luka and Kyrie are able to come back on the weekend, they should be able to win. This is going to be a really tough game, though.
Offensively, the Clippers are going to be led by Norman Powell, as we mentioned, averaging over 23.5 points per game so far this year, shooting over 50% from the field and 48% from the three-point line. James Harden averaging 22 points per game so far this year and is 7th in the league in assists per game, dishing out nearly 8 assists per contest. Defensively, the Clippers are going to be led by Ivica Zubac, averaging over 12 rebounds per contest this year, while also giving them nearly 15 points per game for Los Angeles. And, of course, the Clippers are bringing Derrick Jones Jr. back. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury. He returns to the lineup. He'll be starting for Los Angeles tonight. He's been averaging over 10 points per game while shooting nearly 42% from the three-point line. Of course, Derrick Jones Jr., a fan favorite, helping the Mavericks reach the NBA Finals last year, has been doing some really good things when he's been available for Los Angeles, especially in transition, but also knocking down the three at a pretty good rate for them so far this year.
Yeah, he's been really good. Naji's been really good too. I think it's a pretty even swap. I think both guys are happy. Jones has been playing great. I want to, so Christian in the chat voices a concern that a lot of NBA fans have. And, we did a show the other day talking about yesterday, talking about some of the problems with the league and all that stuff. And Christian says, for the record, I'm not doing this for another year. This is why the NBA is losing viewers. We're tired of all these players missing games. I'm tired of injuries too. If they could just turn off that switch, that'd be great. If no guys get hurt. I just don't believe the Mavs are just like, oh, Luka and Kyrie have boo-boos, let's sit them. I don't think that they would do that after such a long layoff. I think they would wait till this weekend. They have a back-to-back against the Blazers. You're probably going to be okay if those guys miss a game or two. So, for them to miss this game after that layoff, whenever the team has it going like this, implies to me at least that they really are hurt and that this isn't just like a, oh, well, we'll be all right. Let's just mess with the fans. I do just want to emphasize that. Not that I have to apologize on the Mavs' behalf or anything, but I just think that there's kind of levels to the whole thing.
Yeah, fans have been voicing their concerns. I mean, I had just tweeted about it a little bit ago. It feels like this year more than any that the injuries are much more pronounced. And I feel like this has been happening since training camp. Our own Mark Stein has been talking about it as well. Just the amount of injuries across the league, especially to the biggest stars of the game. It just feels like on a night-to-night basis, you may not see your favorite players, but at the same time, the physical demand and toll of this league and what it requires of players, it could catch up to teams. And fortunately for teams like New Orleans, for example, they've been dealing with a litany of injuries all year long.
Terrible. The fans lose.
Yeah,
the fans, because there are 20,000 fans that are going to the game tonight. They're going to be real sad whenever they see the news. And it used to be that I was the one to break the news to the people in that building.
That's right.
I would say that Luka's out, and I'd hear however many people are there, 5,000 people groan, and it's like, I'm sorry. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks really bad. It is a huge – and this is coming off its stretch where the Mavs played one game in a week and a half.
That's true.
How are these guys hurt? So it's just really hard to explain. It's really hard to understand. It sucks really bad. But, it just – there's a big breakthrough for me whenever I was going to therapy is that I just have to accept the things that are out of my control. This is just out of our control, and it sucks. We just have to deal with it as fans, as viewers, as media, whatever.
And opportunities for guys to step up tonight in their spot to be able to try and get this win.
Goatman.
For the Dallas Mavericks. By the way, the Mavericks are playing their first game against the Clippers this season after, of course, eliminating them in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs last year in 6 games in what was a 4-2 series. The Mavericks and Clippers will play each other 4 times this year. By the way, both of those in a baseball series. You'll get the Clippers here in Dallas on tonight and Saturday, and then April 4th and 5th in Los Angeles. So both of the 4 times that they'll play each other will be in the forms of baseball series. So again, they'll see each other later on in the spring. Last year, of course, the Mavericks lost the season series 2-1 during the regular season. Clippers have had the Mavericks number over the last 11 meetings. The Clippers are 8-3 in their last 11 meetings against Dallas. But what mattered most was, of course, last year in the NBA playoffs. Speaking of Kyrie Irving, Irving was spectacular, including what was one of the shots of the postseason, knocking down that three-pointer on the baseline as PJ Tucker was helpless in trying to defend Kyrie Irving.
Nice faces from Daniel Gafford.
Daniel Gafford's face will live forever on that particular play. as the Mavericks took out the Clippers last year. Clippers, really good defensive team, one of the best in the league, number 5 in defensive rating, a team that loves to get deflections. So if you're the Mavericks, once we get to our X factors a little bit later on, got to protect the ball tonight against a handsy Clippers team that likes to steal the basketball and poke it away from their opponents. Much more on this game in terms of X factors, who's in, who's out on both sides, and our Mavericks player spotlight as well as we take a look at the returning Naji Marshall for your Dallas Mavericks. All that coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs pregame show.
But first, let me run you through my sleeper play of the night. I had a big night the other night. I hit both of my plays on sleeper and turned $10 into $67. It was pretty sick. Yeah, now tonight it's obviously a lot tougher to do it whenever so many guys are out. You don't really know who's going to step up or not, but my one thing I believe in for the Clippers is that Ivica Zubac will get a double-double. He averages a double-double. I think it's just kind of inevitable. Again, I don't know what's going to be consistently the case with the Mavs really on any given night, but the one thing I do know is that P.J. Washington's always going to play his tail off. So I'm taking him for more than 24.5 points plus rebounds. And then I think Naji Marshall, he's probably going to get a lot of minutes. I think he's going to make 1-3. Just that. That's it. He just needs to make at least 1-3.
Yeah.
And if he does, that $5 play turns into $16.80. If you want to sign up and play sleeper, a $5 play gets you $55 in bonus credit if you use promo code DLLS Mavs. Again, DLLS Mavs. Make a $5 play like me, win yourself some money, and also get a bunch of extra stuff to play with.
Happy picking when it comes to sleeper for tonight's game.
I don't even need to wish you luck.
When it comes to the Mavericks and the Clippers, we'll be welcoming in right now our Mavericks beat writer live from the American Airlines Center. You can find him on X at Tim_Cato. He is Tim Cato. Tim, what's going on?
Nothing much, fellas. How are we tonight?
Doing better because we're not injured, unlike the two stars for the Dallas Mavericks tonight when it comes to Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. We played a little bit earlier, Jason Kidd discussing the next man up mentality for this team and guys making sure that they're not playing outside of themselves when it comes to taking on this Clippers team tonight. Your thoughts on Luka and Kyrie missing tonight's game and what that means for the Mavericks taking on Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, Jason Kidd actually said it was easier to have all these players out. Makes his rotation pretty simple. You just got to play the players who are available. But yeah, he had no further injury updates on Luka or Kyrie. Maxey is in, so he. But I thought it was interesting that he mentioned Omax, mentioned unprompted that Omax has had a chance to play. If my press conference what's the press conference language? If I'm interpreting what I heard correctly from Jason Kidd, I bet Omax is going to at least get a chance to stick in the rotation, even with Maxey. I thought that stood out to me. But yeah, you mentioned this at the top that I thought Mark Followell asked a really good question, and something that Jason Kidd says a lot is that he wants players to stay in their roles, to stay true to who they are, and Jason Kidd's response was still that's what they got to do. There's going to be some more touches and there's going to be some more minutes, but nobody is coming into this game, into this rotation, into this team to play hero, to be Luka or Kyrie. That makes it a lot tougher. Obviously, nobody really could step in and do exactly what Luka and Kyrie do, but yeah, that definitely makes it tougher for them. But I don't know. It's the NBA. That's the hand that's been dealt.
I appreciate all of you joining us live, by the way. Nearly 140 folks watching us live right now here on our pregame show. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the DLLS Sports YouTube page while you're here, and for us at DLLS Mavs as well. That gets us to our injury report for tonight as we look at both teams and who's in and who's out. We will start with the Los Angeles Clippers. Kobe Brown, is out with a back injury. Derrick Jones Jr., he returns tonight for the Clippers. He's available as he had been dealing with a right hamstring strain. Kawhi Leonard, of course, remains out with his right knee injury. Terrence Mann also out. He's dealing with a broken left finger. And, of course, the headliners for tonight for your Mavericks, Luka Doncic being out with a left heel contusion. He's missing his 7th game of the season due to injury. Dante Exum remains out with his right wrist injury. Jaden Hardy misses yet another game, unfortunately, with the right ankle sprain. He was getting some shots up at practice on Wednesday, so hopefully he's getting a little bit closer to his return as well. And Kyrie Irving out with the right shoulder soreness for the Dallas Mavericks when it comes to the injury report for the Mavericks and the Clippers. Derrick Jones Jr., Tim, making his return to Dallas after, of course, helping the Mavericks reach the NBA Finals last year. Comes back after dealing with that hamstring strain. How did he look during warmups? And he's going to be in the starting lineup for Los Angeles tonight as well for the Clippers.
I did not see him in warmups. I wasn't out on the court. I was in the locker room chatting with Quentin Grimes and Dwight Powell, among others, for some stories to come. But yeah, certainly saw the same video, videos that are on social media of Derek Jones. Was actually a little surprised. My impression or my understanding was that he was actually going to at least be out for this game. So, I must have just misseen that. But always welcome. Certainly he should go down as a 1-year fan favorite for his contributions. And good player. And even if Dallas has found replacements, and certainly, I don't think that they, regret, how the summer played out. He was a very good player for them.
That gets us to tonight's game, and we get to our Mavericks player spotlight, a guy who has done a good job and really exceeded a lot of the expectations in replacing Derek Jones Jr. Naji Marshall returning tonight for the Dallas Mavericks. Of course, missed the game on Sunday against the Golden State Warriors due to illness. Over his last 10 games, Naji Marshall has been playing really well, averaging nearly 26 minutes per game, averaging over 16.5 points per game while shooting 58% from the field and nearly 41% from the three-point line, and also shooting over 82% from the free throw line as well. Of course, he's got 19 points, at least 19 points in 5 of his last 6 games played. Naji Marshall coming back tonight. Looking forward to his return. Here's what Naji Marshall had to say about not only his return, but his process in getting back as he gets ready to take on the Clippers tonight. Take a listen.
I guess let's say first things first, how you feeling?
I'm good, pretty good. It's been 8 days, so feel good. I got my legs under me. Feel a little skinny and feel light.
How much of the 8 days was being sick? How much of it was just getting the conditioning back?
Say about half, 50-50. Like
Yeah.
4 days at least, both ways.
You didn't lose any weight, did you?
A little bit, just a little bit though. But I'm good now. I'm back. I'm feeling better, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game.
What do you like about the way the team is playing? You guys were running 12 out of the last 14.
Just the way we're sharing the ball, the way we're playing on defense, how hard we're playing, and it just looks fun out there. Mm-hmm.
Bobby, I'll start with you before I go to Tim. Naji Marshall making his return tonight. How big is he going to be, especially knowing how shorthanded the Mavericks going to be tonight?
I mean, I hope it's 28 points and 13 rebounds and 11 assists or whatever Luka would probably get. I mean, it's obviously good to have him back. I'm trying to think, Tim, like, I'm assuming that Naji's going to start. I'm sure someone has tweeted the starting lineups yet, but, like, you were talking about having Omax in there. If Naji's starting, is Omax your backup 3 and Max is your backup 4? Is Naji going to be coming off the bench? Like, what is the plan now that this team that once had too many guards and not enough forwards now has, like, no guards and all forwards?
I mean, Jason Kidd, he didn't. Not something he talked about pregame. We're gonna find out.
Sorry to cut you off. Naji's actually coming off the bench. The starting lineup's Dinwiddie, Grimes, Clay, PJ, Lively. So Naji is coming off the bench. My bad.
I kind of suspected it might be that, just because both it's Naji's first game back and Grimes has been, in large part due to what am I saying? In large part due to Naji's injury, Grimes has been the spot starter. So that doesn't shock me, and also Naji, you need a ball handler on the second units. If Spencer's starting, then who's the point guard on the side? I thought about asking this. I don't think Jason Kidd would have said much more than he's got to stay ready and you've got to be ready for an opportunity. But Gortman, this feels like a game for one of your two-way guards. If you're down all of your guards, then you do have more. You have two-way players for a reason. This is, as much as we talk about how two-way guys are prospects, and sometimes that's the case, really, I think functionally what the two-way contract in the NBA has become is it's become like deep depth. It's become, emergency, fill-in. It's been an emergency fill-in when you have a bunch of injuries at a specific position. And, players tend to want younger players that they hope to develop and could potentially see as 15 15, players on a 15-man roster. But yeah, this is what these players are signed for. This is what they're, what they're here for. And so I'd be pretty surprised if he's not fully in the rotation, just because who else are you going to play? It's got to be one, if not him, I zoned out during Kevin is it Brandon Williams and Gortman are both available?
Brandon Williams is out tonight. So
Brandon Williams is still out.
Has
Okay.
he
Then
played this year at all?
I think he's played once, if I remember correctly.
He's gotten into a game or two. Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, he's out tonight. So it's going to be potentially Jay-Z and Gortman potentially getting some minutes tonight when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks. And yes, Ardell, the knife, when it comes to Naji.
Brandon Williams played 5 games this season.
He's played 5 games? Wow. It must have been an all blowout. It had to be an all blowout situation.
Yeah.
For the most. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, we only need to see Brandon Williams in blowout situations.
But I mean, tonight where they would,
probably
if he was healthy,
depth.
they would play him.
Yeah. So
it's tough.
The Mavericks bench going to be tested tonight when it comes to taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. That gets us to our X factors for tonight's game. Bobby let you know who is going to be in the starting lineup: Spencer Dinwiddie, Quentin Grimes alongside PJ Washington, Klay Thompson, and Derek Lively in the middle tonight, which gets us to X factor number 1, gentlemen. And Tim, I'll start with you. Who picks up the offensive load with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving sidelined tonight as they look to take out the Los Angeles Clippers at home?
I mean, it's got to start with Spencer Dinwiddie, but I think you need big games from your auxiliary scorers, your post-up players in a large way. When you have an offense that isn't going to be your typical offense because your typical offensive initiators are not available, this is a situation where the game probably starts with the PJ Washington post-up. They're going to throw it in to Daniel Gafford and try to, basically, what's the word? I mean, just burn some possessions that way. And if you can score, if Daniel Gafford has 10 post-ups and scores on half of them, you'll take that in a game like this because that's a smaller number of possessions that that Spencer Dinwiddie and Quentin Grimes and Naji Marshall have the responsibility of trying to create something. And so, and in a big way, you're trying to limit, and this kind of goes back to what Jason Kidd was saying, but you're trying to limit what you're asking out of these players that's way outside of their roles. So you might ask, Daniel Gafford, and, it's not outside of Daniel Gafford's role to be a post-up player. They do that at times, but I think that's something you'll see. Certainly, like I said, PJ, if I'm not sure who they're going to throw on him. Maybe it might be James Harden. James Harden feels like it's probably the guy who's going to be guarding him. But if James Harden's been a very good post defender, but no,
I'm saying you have to go at him if that's the case. Like you get him in foul trouble, you win the game.
And if it's Derek Jones, then of course, let PJ Washington back him down. The size differential between those two is very notable. So I think we're going to see some of that. We're going to see some, I think Derek Lively will probably even do it once or twice. And then beyond that, you just try to, get as much of a Luka and Kyrie, effect or replication from Spencer Dinwiddie for the 36 minutes or so that he's going to be out there.
Bobby, it feels like a chance for the Mavericks to take advantage of the size that they have with Lively and Gafford. The Clippers not necessarily.
Oh no! Ivica Zubac was dominant in that series, dude. I mean, that was like the huge thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of pretty much their only big man that they've got in terms of Los Angeles.
But those guys need to bring, like Gafford and Lively, got to bring the juice.
Yeah,
this can't be like a Nurkic night where back in Game 2 of the season, Nurkic was beating their butt. Mm-hmm. It's got to be like the last time they played Phoenix, whenever Nurkic wasn't really a factor until the last play of the game, which was a load of malarkey. But like,
real quick,
that's a huge. Meanwhile, like, sorry Tim, but like Lively can't get in foul trouble on Zubac, just like Harden can't get in foul trouble on PJ or whoever.
For sure.
Yeah, and real quick, I wrote about this on alldlls.com today, and I think this is something we're going to be talking about and tracking for a little bit. We'll give the full synopsis of kind of the stat, but basically I went out looking for if there's a stat that really correlates to Dallas winning. And I think the one that most correlates is offensive rebounding rate, or basically if they grab 1 out of every 4 missed shots, they win 85% of their games dating back to the trade deadline. And that stat is, it's helped when you have your fully healthy offense out there, Luka and Kyrie. But that's another way. This is a small team. Dallas has big players. If you're not going to make shots quite as efficiently because Luka and Kyrie are out, go get misses. That will help you win. So that's, to me, the other big key for the game.
The Mavericks have been pretty good in terms of their offensive rebounding over the last 14 games. In fact, not just good on the offensive rebounding side, they've been the number one defensive rebounding team over the last 14 games as well. So they got to play big on the boards tonight. It should be hopefully a lot of fun at the American Airlines Center. If nothing else, the Mavericks are finally back at home after spending so much time on the road. They begin a 4-game homestand tonight as they take on the Los Angeles Clippers in a baseball series that begins tonight and concludes on Saturday. Tim, we appreciate your time and looking forward to talking to you post-game after the Mavericks take on the Clippers at the AAC, man. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate y'all.
Bye, Tim.
There he goes. That's our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. He'll be live with us during our post-game show as well, along with our national NBA insider, Mark Stein.
After another Mavs win, Kevin.
From the American Airlines Center. I feel like you forced that, but I'm going to go with it anyway. We really appreciate all of you joining us here on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Come back with us 15 minutes after the game is over with right here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show as we react to the Mavericks taking on the Los Angeles Clippers at the AAC. Again, really appreciate you joining us. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the way out the door as well. For Bobby Corella, I'm your man, Kevin Gray. We'll talk to you post-game. It's time for Mavericks basketball to take on the Clippers at home. We'll talk to you later on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.